This webinar will provide a brief overview of how to use the Scope and Sequence Language Foundations Continuum for Reading and Writing document. My name's Aisata Conte, and I'm an ETFO member. To start, type Scope and Sequence into your Google search engine and see how many options will pop up. You might be wondering which one. Where do I start? How do I go about choosing an effective scope and sequence? I hope that this short webinar will provide you with some insight. It's also important to consult or check with what your school board is providing as a scope and sequence to ensure that you're aligned with your school board's instructional practices and routines. What is scope and sequence? Research indicates phonological awareness skills need to be taught explicitly. All students benefit from systematic and explicit instruction. A critical underpinning for developing word reading, decoding, and spelling and coding. Identified as a core deficit in students who struggle with word reading accuracy. Explicit phonological awareness instruction is essential for all learners, and especially important for students who have learning difficulties or are multilingual learners. Essentially, your scope and sequence is a list of skills that you're going to be focusing on. The scope of skills and the sequence would be the order of events, the roadmap. We really want to think of starting with simpler concepts and ideas, moving from simple to more complex, as we move students to the point where they master skills and concepts. Strand B is called Foundations of Language. We want to ensure that students have a solid foundational knowledge base. Let's focus on B2, Language Foundations for Reading and Writing. This overall expectation states that all students will demonstrate an understanding of foundational language knowledge and skills and apply this understanding when reading and writing. B2 is essentially capturing the curriculum recommendations of the Right to Read Inquiry Report. There are expectations that focus on scientific, evidence-based approaches that emphasize direct, explicit, and systematic instruction of word reading and spelling, including phonemic awareness, alphabetic knowledge, and phonics, and explicit learning and application of orthographic, morphological, vocabulary knowledge, and fluency to develop their reading and spelling skills. The overall expectations are then broken down into specific expectations. Here are the specific expectations for B2. B2.1, phonemic awareness, B2.2, alphabetic knowledge, B2.3, phonics, grapheme-phoneme correspondence, B2.4, word-level reading and spelling using phonics knowledge, B2.5, word-level reading and spelling using orthographic knowledge, B2.6, word-level reading and spelling using morphological knowledge, B2.7, vocabulary, and lastly, B2.8, reading fluency, accuracy, rate, and prosody. Strand B has two associated learning continua. One of them is the Language Foundations Continuum for Reading and Writing, grades 1 to 4, overall expectation B.2. There's a download of this continuum on the Ontario Ministry of Education's digital curriculum platform. It's a detailed overview of how the foundations break down by grade kindergarten to grade 4 and get specific about the 5 components of reading and includes definitions and examples. Please pause this video while you find this document. Just Google Ontario Ministry of Education DCP Language Curriculum Continuum. Please take a moment to scroll to page 6 of the continuum. This is under the word-level reading and spelling, applying phonics, orthographic, and morphological knowledge section. The curriculum describes the progression of foundational language knowledge and skills appropriate for students in Ontario and is informed by evidence-based research on reading and language development. The scope and sequence is provided for each foundational skill. It groups the progression of knowledge and skills in a larger ordered sequence, beginning with basic concepts and progressing to more complex concepts from grade to grade. Here's an example of skills progressing from basic to more advanced when teaching word-level reading and spelling using morphological knowledge from grades 1 to 4. The Foundation Continuum is a really helpful tool that allows educators to see the knowledge and skills children need to acquire before they can move on to the required learning and expectations in subsequent grades. As indicated in the Foundation's continuum, some children may have already acquired the previous skills required. In contrast, other students might not have consolidated the skills necessary for solid morphological knowledge. Thus, it would be beneficial to use the skills reflected, expected, in the previous grade as a baseline for future learning and gap filling. Take a look at the knowledge and skills and the looks like section within the continuum, as these two areas are extremely helpful. This has been a short overview of the continuum. A suggested next step would be to get more familiar with the document. Please download or print out a copy of the curriculum and reflect upon the following questions. The features. What features of this document do you like? What don't you like? In planning, how do you see yourself using this document to plan your program? The impact. What impact will this scope and sequence continuum have on your reading and writing instruction? How will the continuum support students?